It has been more than a year and a half since the ethnic violence in Manipur broke out. Though the violence, as per reports, has been contained, tensions continue to simmer. And since the violence erupted on the 3rd of May last year, over 60,000 people have been displaced. Among the displaced, over 24,000 are children under 18. And all they want is to return, mainly to the Imphal Valley. Now, we've connected with displaced people who narrate their ordeal and await normalcy. The question is, when will they get to return to their homes? But first up, listen to their plea.
हमारा जीरीबा में नूनखान करके एक विलेज था. उस विलेज में मेरा रबर प्लांटेशन और पेटर्नट प्लांटेशन का बगान है. उस बगान में रात में ई और मार मिलिटेंट लोग आके बगान का 2 घर जला दिया है. एक घर में हमारा बगान का देखने के लिए मुस्लिम फैमिली रहता है. वो लोग फैमिली को रात में आके बाहर में निकाल के घर में घुस के घर का अंदर में जितना सामान है वो लोग जला दिया है. जलाने के बाद में घर भी जला दिया है. उसके बाद में उसका बगल में गोदाम था. वो गोदाम में रबर शीट रखता था और रबर शीट को पहले जला दिया है. उसके बाद में गोदाम को भी जला दिया है. वो दोनों घर जलाने के बाद में वो लोग हमारा बगान का बगल में एक मणिपुरी रहता था. उसका नाम जोनी सिंह है. वो मारने के लिए वो लोग गया था और जोनी सिंह वो लोग को चुपचाप देख लिया था और जोनी सिंह उसका घर का से खिड़की से बाकी जंगल में चला गया था. और कुछ लोग मिलिटेंट लोग आके वो घर में घुस के घर का इतना सामान है वो जला दिया है. जलाने के बाद में उसका घर भी जला दिया है.
जून का डेट 7 से कुकी और मार टेररिस्ट ने हम लोग का घर सब जला के हम लोग अभी बोरबेगा पुलिस स्टेशन में हम रिलीव करके रह रहा है. होने से भी जो हम लोग लगभग इधर 15-16 डेज इधर रह चुका है. हम लोग इधर रहने के बाद भी अभी जो सेंट्रल फोर्स जो हमारा आसाम फल जो सब CRPF सब अभी डिप्लॉय करके इधर में रह रहा है. होने से भी हमारा आसपास में पुलिस स्टेशन के आसपास जो 700-600 मीटर दिशा में हम लोग का गार्ड मणिपुरी के घर अभी भी चल रहा है.
लाउदना अददेगे खोंगदना तौरगा मैसे थागले अखोइगिदि खुलाइसु लैतरे अदि मोइने पीस थम्मिबने हाइदना पोचै सोमता सुहनतोक्तरे अखोइदि अखोइना अदुक्कि मथिक थोलगा अखोइसे लैरे नखोइने नोंमै कापकापतना मैदो थारगा अखोइने युम मैदो साकपगि थमोइदुदि कयाबदा साइ मतमदुदा अखोइसे लैसु लैतरे अखोइसे अदुगा ngasiba akoina akoigi sida laigada seraugi haina takthokna leire aduga aikoigi napat ki di lalofai hairiba jaga asi laibani na moina hujik chungha leire nongmai kapsilak.
Dr. Ankita Datta and Dr. Anand Ranganathan with us. We've got many more written testimonies and some of those details are quite shocking and controversial, if I may say so, because they actually point fingers at multiple entities and what's happening in Manipur at this point. Dr. Ankita Datta, you've been tracking this very closely, a lot of them, and we're given to understand, in fact, none of them, these testimonies and people who have spoken out, have been brave enough to speak out, have even dared to go back to Manipur. They're all in different parts of Bharat.
Yes. So this a person from the testimony from Jiribam is that place, a major point of connectivity connecting Manipur with Assam and other states of the northeast. And in Jiribam, there have been attacks on people where militant groups have sneaked behind the line of defense. They have moved into houses and managed to kill people while they were sleeping. They have even managed to burn down schools and healthcare centers in Jiribam and also, in fact, so many other places. So, see, it is very clear now that the state government of Manipur alone cannot handle this crisis. It is already out of control at the moment. And even if Chief Minister Biren Singh is provided with a unified command without full-fledged military operations involving multiple concentric circles enveloping the hills of Manipur, cutting off all the escape routes, there is just no way to resolve this crisis. But unified command will only be a hold on the situation where you form a defensive perimeter efficiently and keep that bleeding to a minimum. But let me be clear here that this won't solve the problem of Manipur in the long term. because the defensive outlook which currently the government has adopted has led to a dire situation on the ground, as we can see, because it is allowing the heavily armed Kuki militants to pick and choose where and when to strike. They are creating small teams almost every day. They are moving into selected areas and launching high intensity, high profile attacks, mostly hit and run attacks, and they are able to get away with it, which is all the more worrisome because of the lack of, this has been happening because of the lack of proactive military operations. So simply peacekeeping operations which is akin to patrolling, that is simply not enough. We need proper combing operations, maybe even stricter combing operations than that of Chhattisgarh, which was launched against the Maoists in areas like Dantewada. And this has to be the bare minimum, and it has got to have multiple layers. And also, I think I had mentioned this earlier as well, that before launching full-scale military operations, the leftists and other anti-India forces operating in full swing in the Manipuri society, working against Bharat day in and day out for fulfilling their own vested interests, these sections of the society need to be contained first. And yes, the Manipuri society is angry with the central government at present. Their anger with the government is rightly justified, because there has been a policy paralysis. There has been indecisiveness going on for a long time now, especially with regard to the highly controversial SU, that is the suspension of operations agreement with the Kuki militants. And this is leading to a dangerous mix of, anti-national sentiments. There is desperation and frustration among all. Whenever I speak to people, there is, from the younger lot to the older generations, they have lost hope. And during this time, another dangerous aspect is the resurgence of the Meitei militant groups like the UNLF, which were almost already dead or buried. But at present, they have managed to hijack a significant portion of the movement. So there is utter chaos in the field. The militant groups are trying to recruit people into their fold with an anti-national agenda and use these people for some other purposes, which is certainly not good for Bharat.
See, it lends into a very geopolitical realm along with the ethnic strife,
Right.
and we'll talk about this. Look at the arms and ammunition, Dr. Ranganathan and Dr. Ankita Datta and viewers, that's been seized in just the recent past. 2nd of October in Tengnopal, 21 IEDs, 42 country-made grenades. Can we just put that detail out there? 21 IEDs, 42 country-made grenades, 7 hand grenades. I'm just going to wait for that to come up on the screen. This is what I'm reading out. The arms and ammunition seizure in Manipur. October 2nd in Tengnopal, 21 IEDs, 42 country-made grenades, 7 hand grenades. Then 16th of October, Churachandpur. You had AK-47 and SLR rifles, 36 grenades and tube launchers. October 17th, rifles, ammunition, mobile phones that have been caught. Then October 20th, 9mm pistol, grenades, ammunition. 22nd October, local made mortars, pistols, explosive material. Again, October 24th, Insar's rifles, grenades, magazines. Okay, October 25th in Bishnupur, pistols, grenades and radios. October 27th, sniper rifle, 9mm pistols and hand grenades. October 28th, Taubal, AK rifles, AN-M16 and ammunition. October 31st, rockets, mortars and improvised bombs. November 1st, grenades, demand letters and SIM cards. November 5th, rifles, pistols and hand grenades. Now, this is what's been caught. Now, this is not the whole lot or the whole extent of what's been caught. Also, today in Mizoram, on the Serchib Tenzwal Road, a mobile vehicle checkpost on the 6th of November, that's yesterday, troops have intercepted a vehicle, thoroughly searched it, apprehended 2 individuals in possession of 9,600 gelatin sticks, 9,400 detonators and over 1,800 meters of cortex. Now, my point is Manipur and Mizoram are very next to each other, and we've just had recently what the Mizoram Chief Minister had said. There is huge amount of trouble brewing. Here you have victims who can't go back. There are others, there are counter forces which are again regrouping. arms, ammunition, ethnic strife can turn into a huge national security issue very soon.
Anand, very briefly, 3 points to make. I think the Northeast is fast turning out to be as tragic an example as you could ever find of the currently popular adage, "Batenge to katenge." As simple as that. And the tragedy is, I completely agree with Dr. Datta out here. The fact is, there has been complete paralysis on the part of the governments, center and state. But it's not just the BJP governments. It is the Congress governments traditionally for the last 20 years. I mean, this problem is not new. The policy paralysis and paralysis action for that is also, the blame also has to be taken by the Honorable Court, because it redacted what it had requested, a white paper on whether Meitei should be given a tribal ST status. That has been their demand for 60 years. No government has had the courage to address this, least of all the governments of BJP and the Congress. Now, the second point I want to make, how the situation is being, rather than being solved, it's being muddled even more. Did you know very recently, couple of weeks ago, 10 MLAs who are Kuki Zo MLAs demanded to carve out a separate union territory, and 7 of them are BJP MLAs. I don't know what the devil is going on out here, Anand. This is over and above what you correctly mentioned, that the sitting Chief Minister of Mizoram wants to carve out a territory that has parts of Bangladesh, parts of Myanmar and parts of India. It's another matter that his speech that is gaining traction of 4th September, 2 days before that, he said this nation would be within India, but he has left it ambiguous whether 2 days later did he mean within India or outside of India. In any case, you can see what I'm trying to portray out here. Somebody needs to take this whole situation by the scruff of its neck and solve it, because this is tragedy heaped upon tragedy, Anand.
No, and not just that, even if it is within Bharat, it is also questioning the territorial integrity of the state of Manipur.
Correct.
And that is why the Kokomi have also come out and very clearly condemned the statement that's been made. But there is something that's brewing that we need to be mindful of, Dr. Ankita Datta. There is an issue which we have to address like today. We can't just brush it under the carpet and try and just simmer the tempers down and say that all is well. That's not going to solve this. There is drug money, there is an international cartel, there is a Western hegemony, there is a Chinese or an Eastern hegemony, and of course there are these evangelical entities who are working on their own machinations. Now, if you put all of this together, we have a serious issue. Unless these ethnic communities come together and they all come under the tricolor that is Bharat, we have a serious problem on hand. And 60,000 people displaced. And they have not even got the right to come back to their own valley, their own homes in Imphal. Dr. Datta, final word.
Yeah, so what my fellow co-panelist has just mentioned, the demand for the separate administration, and what you also mentioned, Anandji, about the evangelical interest. So this demand, this is interlinked. So the demand for separate administration, it was raised by the Kuki Zo BJP MLAs of Manipur last year, and immediately it had found support from the political parties of Mizoram. Mizo politicians like Julie Lalrat Feli or Mafeli Laundo, who is the daughter of a pastor herself, these people have repeatedly talked about the Kuki Chin Mizos being one people and sharing a common Kuki ancestry, and this is how they have been continuously justifying their demand for Kuki land, which they call by so many names such as Zofate, Zoland, which is nothing but a dangerous conspiracy manufactured by the church in collaboration with a well-educated and politically influential section of the society and their followers backed by foreign powers. And these church-backed Chin Kuki Mizo extremists, they are a threat. They are a threat to the very existence of the Hindu civilization in the Northeast and the unity and territorial integrity of Bharat. The divisive and supremacist religious teachings of the church, they have not only destroyed the indigenous belief systems of the various Vanavasi communities in the Northeast, but also led to a deep sense of hatred among them towards those communities who are still Hindus. Like, for example, the Meitei and Vishnupriya Manipuri Hindus, the Riyangs, the Hajongs, the Chakmas, etc. And this hatred, initially, it manifests itself in the demand for a separate district or in the demand for a separate autonomous council. And gradually, it evolves into the demand for an exclusive and separate homeland or a separate Christian country, like what is brewing in Manipur
Right.
that we see today.
No,
Yes.
not just that. There are also rich deposits, mineral deposits in this region, which is the unsaid lure,
Certainly.
along
Yes.
with a strategic intent that if there is a separate area that's carved out, which comes under a certain hegemonistic control, then they have the right to form their own base and take these aspects to a separate geopolitical dimension that was highlighted even by Sheikh Hasina. We will get into that and the larger impact of whatever is happening in this region. Look at it from a broader prism in the coming days. For the moment, I have to wind up the conversation. Dr. Ankita Datta and Dr. Anand Ranganathan, thank you very much. Thank you.